Welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. Join me as we have a real-life discussion on how to change your life by changing your thoughts. Remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth. Welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. My name is Sloan Fremont, and I'm your host. Today I'm going to be talking about something that has been nagging at the back of my mind for quite some time, and I haven't been able to put my finger on it until just recently. And that is that I don't know where I stand on a lot of things these days. I don't know where I stand. I don't know what I believe about a lot of different things. I don't know. I can see myself going both ways on different things. And that is really different than how I used to view the world and how, I used to operate and see things. And so I want to share my experience with how I've worked through that a little bit and just some thoughts on that in case you're in a similar place. Hopefully what I share with you today will be able to assist you in looking at things just a little bit differently. Before we get into that, I want to remind you of my course, The BS Method, that is now live. So the BS Method, How to Tell Yourself a Better Story in 5 minutes or less, is live at thebsmethod.com. And what I've done is I've put together a course that teaches you how to really retrain your thoughts and get out of those old stories that love to haunt us and keep us down. And I've put all this together in a very easy to follow course format where I have all of the templates, all of the exercises. I have all of the, I have sample scripts for you. I have sample getting started, to think about different things. I have all kinds of stuff for you in that course. If you visit thebsmethod.com, you'll learn a little bit more about the course and how it can really change your life. These are all things that I did myself when I changed my life, and I wanted to be able to put those together in a format for you to learn as well. So check that out, thebsmethod.com. So this week on I don't know where I stand. This is something that I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while, but like I said at the beginning, I couldn't really explain it. I couldn't put my finger on what was really going on with me. And I thought it was almost in the beginning, I felt like I didn't know what my belief system was. And then as I thought about that more, I was like, no, that's actually not true, because I do know what I believe. I know what I believe at my core, like my core, genuine core beliefs. But there's things going on in the world, like personally with me, as we kind of get back into things, as we, everything opens up and we go back and, we're starting to do things. This whole experience of doing things again feels so weird. And I'm finding myself really taking a good look at the things that I have done, used to do, thought maybe I wanted to do going forward. And instead of just accepting it as it used to be, actually looking at it for what it is and, getting a feel for how I feel about it and touching in on that. So when I was thinking about putting this together, this show notes for today, and I was, I struggled for several weeks on how to even explain this, but what it really came down to that I felt that was weird for me or different was that I don't know where I stand on certain things. And in the past, that would have driven me crazy. Like, that would have not been acceptable to me prior to 2021. I would have had an opinion about everything. I would have had, a stance on everything. I would have had my supporting reasons for everything. And I'm finding now, currently, I don't know. There are certain things that I feel like I could go either way on. So I've got some examples here that I'll talk through, and then I've got some suggestions at the end here. If you're feeling this way, how I have worked through this, and hopefully what I share will help you work through it too. So when I talk about I don't know where I stand on things, so here's some things like generally in the world where I don't know where I stand. I feel like I could go either way on this. So Bitcoin. Okay, that's something I did a show on this a while ago about creating a Bitcoin strategy. I don't know where I stand on Bitcoin. I own it. I don't plan to sell it, but I don't know if Bitcoin was created to try to get everybody to move over to some digital currency system where, everybody from corporations to whoever wanted to control us, or if Bitcoin was really created as, free money, or not free money, but free market money, right? Where you didn't have some of the rules and restrictions that are in place today with, banking and all of this kind of stuff. And so I don't know where I stand on that. I can see it 50-50 either way. And I don't know. I don't know. It changes almost every day how I feel about this. I feel like I also don't know where I stand on certain things happening in the world. Like there's things happening in different countries that I don't fully understand or even know where to get unbiased information so that I could make a decision. I feel like with what I do see on, quote, the news, which is even that word itself is, I don't know what to even say about that word anymore, because I don't feel like anything is actual news. I feel like it's information put out there to sway people one way or the other. But I don't know how I feel about, or I don't know where I stand on a lot of these things that we see. And like I said, that's in the past that would have been unacceptable to me. But I feel like I'm in this like wait and see mode with a lot of different things. And it's odd. It's a really weird place to be. So there's personal things that I don't know where I stand. And these are just simple things. So I feel like almost if I don't know where I stand personally on my own small things, like how could I possibly know the bigger things? But even things like going back to dancing, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know where I stand on that, because I went to one event I hated. I went to another event that I loved. So I don't know how I feel or where I stand on going back and doing like social dancing like I used to do. Travel. Like I used to use travel as a way to escape. I used to, as many of us do. But I think I was really using it as a way that I like, this seeking, feeling I always have to be finding something, like looking for something, even though I didn't really know what it was. And so I don't have that desire or that need to like fix that fire that used to be raging inside of me. So I don't really know where I stand on how I want to handle travel going forward. Do I want to travel like I used to all the time, or am I okay with just doing it occasionally? I don't know. I don't know where I stand on that. I don't know where I stand on partially on my belief system. Like I talked about earlier. I do still believe that we create our own reality, but I used to use a law of attraction really as the basis for my belief system. I mean, that's how I used to see the world. But 2020 really, really exposed the cracks in that for me. I did a show on this I can't remember, earlier in 2021, I did a show on this. But I do still believe we create our own reality. I do still believe in principles of the law of attraction, but I don't believe in it as I used to from the perspective of you can just pretend the bad things aren't happening and look the other way. Like that doesn't work. So I don't really know what my full belief system, I would call that more like a spiritual belief system. Like I don't really know where I'm at with that. Like I'm not sure my stance on that. So I'm still exploring that. Something simple as concerts, right? There was all this stuff about, when we go back to concerts, you're going to have to be traced, and you're going to have these passports, and you're going to have to show proof of all these tests and all this stuff, which obviously for me is a no. I'm not doing any of that. And not having a year of, concerts and such, year and a half, whatever it's been. I'm like, so how do I feel about concerts anymore? Like one of my friends asked me, she's like, are you going to go back? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, why? And I said, I just don't know if I can relate anymore. Like, I can't imagine going and standing in line and having the issues with, trying to find a bathroom, all this stuff that we would go through. Now, I'm not saying I would never go to a concert again, the smaller venues and such, but the big ones, I don't know. Like, I don't know where I stand on that. I guess it'll just depend on my mood or what's actually going on. But to go back to a show like, and feeling like these quote celebrities, or it's like this false god kind of view, that has been completely, that's a no for me. Like I have no interest in that. So I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know my stance on that. Even like my future, like how do I see my future? Like I would have in the past tried to have it all planned out and have it all, I don't know, like not necessarily a 5-year plan, but something that I'm like envisioning, I guess would be the word. And I don't really have that right now. I'm still kind of in the unknown, and I'm okay with that, which is the odd. Like I said, it's so odd to me that I'm actually okay with this right now. But it's also such a relief to be okay with it too, because I'm not putting this undue pressure on myself to like try to solve the problem or try to find an answer to this, or occupy so much of my mental space with the anxiety of trying to figure it out, or the fear or whatever emotion would be drummed up, right? So this unknown has been almost like I talked before about becoming friends with your emotions, and I feel like now I'm becoming friends with the unknown, when in the previous years I would have fought the unknown or not wanted it or been scared to death of it, right? And so it's a very different shift for me. And so I don't know if you're feeling any of this as well, like where maybe you don't know where you stand on things that you used to really have a stance on, or you really used to see it only one way or something, and now maybe you can see it 50-50 both ways. It's quite a shift. It's a much different way to approach life, but I feel like it's more like I'm more at peace or more open because of it, which is somewhat surprising. And I think some of this confusion about things, or why things feel this way, is there's a lot obviously still going on, but there's some things we're not going to know now, or we can't know, because we don't have a complete picture. We don't have all the details on certain things happening in the world. And so there's that. We're only getting bits and pieces of information. We only see parts of things. And so we don't know where we stand because we don't have all the information. And then there's other things where we just can't find the information, right? We don't know where we stand on something because we simply can't find information due to censorship or due to fake news being, dominating whatever it is that the topic is, right? So there's some things we don't know because we can't find the information. But the most interesting part of this whole thing, this whole topic that I've explored with myself, is I don't know where I stand on some things because I haven't let go of how it used to be. So I haven't fully let go of some things of how they used to be prior to 2020, and so I'm still expecting them to be the same in 2021, and they're not. So I wanted to share an example with you about, this is called a loss exercise. I think this is something that I've found this very helpful in really being able to clear out some of that almost like randomness of leftover residue of, quote, the old life, right, prior to 2020, to let us get clear about what it is we want going forward. And I think this will also help in some of those areas of where we stand on certain things. So I'm going to walk you through this. It's a loss exercise. It's very simple. It's a 4-quadrant. So if you think of 4 quadrants, so the first quadrant is to write down the things that you'll never get back. So if we think, I thought of this from the perspective of prior to 2020. So what are some things that I'll never get back as a result of that? The next quadrant is things I have to get back, right? So things I require coming back into my life. So whatever that is, right? There's certain things that are a non-negotiable, right? So what is it that you have to get back in your life going forward? The third one is things you would like to have back. So maybe they're not a non-negotiable, but there are things you would prefer to be back, or you would like for it to go this way. And then the last quadrant is things that we're glad are gone. So things you're glad are gone. Things you'll never, because of how things are, things changed. Things that you're glad are gone. And this loss exercise, like really walking through this, it's helped me to pull down all these random disconnected thoughts that felt independent, but are actually, I think they're part of the confusion. It's not really a confusion, but it's more of this, like, I don't really know where I stand. That's probably the best way I can sum it up. And on the things that I can, that I do have control about, right? Because I don't have control if I can't of censorship or of not having the complete details, right? Those things are out of my control. But the things that are in my span of control, the personal things that I'm not sure I feel how I'm not sure of my stance on, like going back to social dancing or going to concerts or my spiritual belief system, right? These are things that I have say in, I have control over. And this loss exercise, I think it feels like it clears out the clutter, the old, like cleaning out the garage or something, right? When you sweep it out and then it's all clean from there, right? You have a clean, fresh start. So this loss exercise, I think, is a way to work through some of that. It's almost a weird thing to talk about because it's so, it's hard to, it's a feeling more than I can put into words. So if you're feeling that way, if you felt like you don't know where you stand on certain things, or that you feel like you're questioning your own almost beliefs, or you're finding that you can equally believe something 50-50, right? You can see this side or you can see that side, and they can both be right. The last thing I want to leave you with today is that as part of living as a human and living in this reality, we do get a choice in what we want to believe. So we do get to make the personal decision that I decide I'm going to believe this, and then reserve the right to change that belief if you get more information, or if you get more, a clearer picture, or you have a different experience. But we do get the choice. We do get to believe in what we want to believe. And I think that is something that is often forgotten. I think it's easy to look outside of ourselves to try to get the answers. But when we remind ourselves that we get a choice in what we want to believe, there's a lot of freedom in that. And I've talked about this on here before this is from Cliff High, and he talks about, like, he calls it woo, like the woo-woo, right? Like woo rules. And he says, there's 2 rules. There's no rules, only discovery, and discoveries only last as long as they last. And that's kind of how it is with our beliefs, right? Our beliefs last as long as they last, until we find, we're exposed to something else. We have a different experience. We interact with somebody. We consume information that we feel is accurate and truthful, right? We get to, there's nothing wrong with changing your beliefs. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind. And it's all open for whatever it is that you want to experience. And to me, that's exciting. All right, so that's it for this week on our topic of I don't know where I stand. If you have questions, please feel free to email me, sloanfremont@pm.me. My website is sloanfremont.com, and if you want to learn more about the BS method, please check out thebsmethod.com. Until next week, remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth.